Why, Abraham, did you tell the bit of jam that is Benjamin's daughter?
I see not tell of her, but I have laid my eyes upon her.
Is she an afternoonified jam?
Why, yes, but her cousin Emily does have that of a foul tatter trap on her.
Why aren't you sweats here and not with Benjamin and I celebrating?
Why, elder man, Master Robert is crushed by Lady Victoria.
Is this truth, Master Robert?
That crush on thou bit of honey, why, yeah.
Roberts is going to lack in Lady Victoria.
I have a way to stop them, Don John.
Master Robert makes me sick in displeasure to him. Although his affection seems even with mine, how do you plan on stopping this wedding?
I can't do it truthfully, but I can make it a lie that will be back to us.
Flash me quickly.
I'm going to use Florence and frame Lady Victoria so that she looks like a mace, thus causing Master Roberts to stop the wedding.
Very cool. Okay.
A traditional wedding in the Victorian era was a flashy and very floral wedding that held a lot of today's traditions, while a high-class wedding consisted of a huge blown-out proportion party where they had to take a parade leading to the church for a huge venue was involved and a big party to follow. In the Victorian era, social norms about dating and getting married were that you had to ask father's permission, or if the girl had brothers, ask them as well. There was no sex out of wedlock, or the considered of toffer or dolly mop, which is known as the prostitute in today's time. The Victorian era was between 1819 and 1901. Queen Victoria was the first English monarch to see her name given to the period of her reign while still living. The Victorian age was indefinite by rapid change and it's awesome developments in nearly everything, from advances in medical, scientific, and technology knowledge to changes of population growth and location. Over time, this rapid change affected the country's mood significantly, and that began with the confidence of optimism leading to the economic boom of prosperity. Eventually gave way to uncertainty and doubt. They encouraged hard work, respectability, social deference, and religion conformity. Women who were often portrayed as Madonnas or whores, yet increasing educational and employment opportunities gave many a role outside in family. Politics were important to the Victorians. They believed in perfection of their representative government. This area saw the birth and spread of political movements, most notably socialism, liberalism, and feminism. British Victorians were exactly the geographical exploration and the opening up of Africa and Asia to the west, yet troubled by the intractable Irish situation, humiliated by the failures of the Boer War at sea. British supremacy remained largely unchallenged throughout the century. During the Victorian heyday, workday play expanded dramatically. The National Railway network stimulated travel and leisure opportunities for all, so that by the 1870s, visits to seaside resort, race meetings, and football matches could be enjoyed by many of this now largely urban society. Increasing literacy stimulated growth of popular journalism and the ascendancy of the novel as the powerful popular icon. The progress of scientific thought led to this significant changes in medicine during the 19th century, with increased specialization and developments in surgery and hospital building. There were notable medical breakthroughs in anesthetics, famously published by Queen Victoria herself, taking chloroform for the birth of her son in 1853, and the antiseptics pioneered by Joseph Lister. The public's faith in the institution was evident not only in the growth of hospitals, but was also seen in the erection of specialized workhouses and Asylums. Asylum, whatever, for the most vulnerable members of society.
This must be false. Can this be true? Am I such a proper bit of frock that I am considered a high-end talker? I shall say so long to my olden ways, and say hello to the lady who has crushed upon Abraham, and not seen this day at this time. I shall show Abraham that I can get rid of my foot-and-mouth disease ways, and that I can crush on his back, and that I wish to become a gooseberry maker, and that I would crush to become the jammiest bits of jam for him, and I would crush to turn that crush to a forever crush with holy hand to make he me about and me in a best.
Thinking it at a special. Surrender! Don't shoot!
Do thou, Master Robert, take Lady Victoria in holy hand.
Why, of course he lay to take her no lie. I shall say I see with the action she has committed. She is a toffer. I shall return thee back thou upon thou. Why? What do you lie? You are a topper, my sweet bit o' honey turned dirty puzzle. Why, this must be false. She see he a dirty puzzle. I'm sorry to inform you, Lord, but Lady Victoria of Manchester is a dolly mop. Her crinkum crackum is virginized no longer. Why, between the hours of midnight and 1, she has confessed to have had sexual arousement 1,000 times with a man. I say do such a thing!
I'm sorry, Benjamin, but that was truth. I have seen that boar confess the crush last night at her bedroom window, along with Master Robert and my brother, Sir. What?
Why, you dirty puzzle, I shall have no make you are a slanderous dolly mop.
Thanks to the invention of the phonograph by Thomas Edison in the late 1870s, the 19th century remains the first in which we are able to hear the ways in which the spoken language was actually used. The sense that dictionaries too should record the realities of language and use, rather than an idealized and normative version of words and meaning, was to be another important shift. In the future, the dictionary maker should describe the objective facts of language rather than aiming to provide, as had often been the case in earlier works, a range of subjective opinions about good and bad usage underpin the making of the Oxford English Dictionary. It has received wisdom in many histories of the language that relatively little change took place between the English of 1800s and that of the 20th century. The perceptions of the 19th century speakers might as well have been rather different. Indeed, change on all levels of linguistic organization was apparent, whether in terms of spelling and sound or syntax and meaning. In the context of grammar, one interesting 19th century change was the rise of the progressive passive. But by the end of that century, the new form was clearly dominant. Popular estimations of correctness were nevertheless often at odds with evidence of actual usage. In the context of new words, a number of cross-currents are evident in the vocabulary. For the temporary presence of fashionable French words such as in time or Bastille, to the often polysyllabic and scholarly coinages which mark the language of science. Science changed approaches to language. If Samuel Johnson in the 18th century could refer to the dusty deserts of philology, which he hoped the dictionary might be able to enliven with verdure and flowers, 19th century philology, instead of making out the scientific and empirical methods, which increasingly characterize the study of language too. A range of ologies specific to language, such as dialectology, phonology, morphology, and of course, lexicology, the branch of knowledge which treats words, their forms, history, and meaning, would all also make their appearance at this time. The language was very different in the Victorian era. Words such as toffer were used, which is now prostitute, or crush means love, as you will see in the film that is being shown. Thank you.
Why, my biddo, honey, will thou forgive me for not believing that you see be a dolly ma?
Why, of course, my crush.
Why will thou become my abyss?
Of course. Of course. Who, Abraham?
Emily, I crush upon you. Will you make me an about?
Why, Abraham, I crush upon thee, and I want to make thee an abbess.